What's up? It's your boy Heaven Hollywood back on the IE Network, and this is the Heaven Hollywood Report. And let's get to it. Shout out to my sponsor in case you didn't know. Did Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj, and Cardi B sell out an entire generation? We're going to do this video. At the end, we're going to ask you, did Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj, and Cardi B sell out an entire generation? We're taking this content from another video that was sent to me, and a lot of people was asking me, was this true? So what we're going to do is watch the video together. I'm going to chime in when and where they're right, when and where I feel as though they're wrong, and at the end, we're going to ask that question. Did Nicki Minaj, Lil Kim, and Cardi B sell out an entire generation? So let's go.
Female celebrities are usually the most influential people in the world, having millions of adoring fans who worship their every move. The fans of these female celebrities are usually teenagers and young women who inspire to be just like them. The fact that the fans of many of these celebrities are younger makes them more impressionable and easier to influence as their brains are still developing. In our world today,
Now, I'm going to stop right there because that is something that I have made clear to you guys a lot of times. Remember, I told you that I was speaking to an executive a few years ago, and they said, we're not concerned with old heads. At that point in time, they were saying, we don't care about people 40 years old and older. We're concerned about ages 10 through 20 because that is the age where they mostly stream music, ages 10 to ages 20. He said because in 20 years, the person who's 10 will only be 30 at that time. And then the person who's 20 will be 40. That's when we start being concerned with them. So they said, we're really concerned about ages 10 to 20 for the next 15 to 20 years. So he's right about that.
today, we can see just how much influence these celebrities have over their fans, as most women nowadays act exactly like the female idols they have chosen to worship. This is exactly what we see from the megastar Beyonce, who has been a top-selling artist since the early 2000s. I have done videos on Beyonce in the past, and I believe I have shown more than enough evidence that should prove she's a puppet. Beyonce
Now, the only thing about this dude, like I've seen some people have sent me a couple of videos by this dude. The only thing is, when this dude says something, he says, "Oh, I think I gave you enough evidence for you to see that she's a puppet." Well, you're not really presenting evidence, like you're presenting, you know, you're speculating based on certain things that we see. So that's not really evidence if people don't believe what you're presenting to be true. That's not really evidence. But um he's saying, showing certain rituals and showing certain symbols that Beyonce is always throwing up, or people in the industry is always throwing up. Just say he's basically saying, if you see this more than one time, or if you see this every single time, then you must know it means something. All right, that's not really evidence, but I know what he's trying to say.
Beyonce is worshipped like a god by her fans, and I am being literal.
That's a
Fans of
fact.
Beyonce are so manipulated, they legitimately worship her in a church service called the Beyonce Mass. The creators of the Mass describe the Mass as a womanist worship service that uses the music and personal life of Beyonce as a tool to foster an empowerment conversation about Black women, their lives, their bodies, and their voices. In other words, they play Beyonce's music in a church service, essentially praying to Beyonce as some sort of god. There's a reason these artists are built to the level of God, and it's because
That, in my opinion, was blasphemy. That was blasphemous what they did when they did a Beyonce service. That's when I said, oh, you see, that's blasphemous. You did a service for Beyonce, basically saying Beyonce is a god, basically. So I totally agree. That was very blasphemous.
The industry wants the masses to worship these celebrities as gods. This
Facts.
way, the industry can use the artists to manipulate the minds of the masses. They use the artists as walking, talking billboards that promote whatever the industry desires, a technique that has been working for as long as time. The industry uses many ways to control the artists, like record contracts and manipulation, but most importantly, money. Most people will sell their souls for money, as with endless money, you're like a god on earth. These women celebrities nowadays are mostly just made to look attractive and provoking in order to have men lusting over them and women wanting to be them. It doesn't matter if their
Women lusting over them as well.
music is good or not. Their songs are written by the record labels, their image is built by the record labels.
So he said their songs are written by the record labels. Their images are built by the record labels. So if you ever notice, and I've spoken on this before, if you ever notice when people are saying, oh, they don't know when their song's going to be released, or they have, issues with their record label when a song comes out when it's not supposed to. Remember when people say, oh, I miss the old Nicki Minaj, or I miss the old Cardi B when she first started rapping, or I miss the old Megan Thee Stallion. The direction that they usually take in their music career most of the time is not their decision, especially when you first start.
Even their public personality is made by the record label. This is why most female artists sing and rap about the same exact topics.
Public personality, I don't really agree with because Nicki Minaj created that Barbie persona long before she had a record deal. Cardi B, the way she acts in public is pretty much the way she acts now, and that was created before she had a record deal. So that I don't really agree with.
Money, clothes, and you know the rest. Just about all their songs have lyrics where the artists tell women to value money over love or to use their beauty to
Facts.
get what they want, telling women not to be faithful, all while packaging it as being independent and free. These concepts are pushed throughout the songs of just about every female artist, and most people don't understand just how destructive this is. This has placed the women of our generation into a general mold, molding them into the women needed for the Masonic New World. We are seeing the effects firsthand the agenda pushed by the industry is having on the women of today. The women of today's world have unfortunately been tricked and manipulated into thinking selling themselves for money is a form of liberation. They're
Mm,
manipulated into believing being promiscuous is how to be free, teaching young women
facts.
coming up in this world who are trying to figure things out that love can be sold. In this episode, you're going to see that the biggest female celebrities have taken an oath and are being used to push a destructive agenda aimed towards young women. When it comes to names like Beyonce, Cardi B, and Nicki Minaj, we can see just how much influence they have over their fans. It's easy to see they're all pawns in the same game. We're going to be looking at some of the female artists who took the oath and have guided millions of young women to a burning end. We will not talk about Beyonce in this video, as I've already done a couple of videos on her that you guys can check out after this one. The first artist we need to talk about is Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is another female artist that has the same amount of manipulation over her fans as Beyonce and has so for years now. In the late 2000s, Nicki Minaj was the hot new female artist taking over the industry. She had a unique flow and style and was signed to Lil Wayne's Young Money, which was a huge co-sign during these days. Nicki Minaj ended up becoming the biggest female rapper of all time and was able to develop one of the most loyal fan bases in hip-hop, a fan base that, just like Beyonce's fan base, would do anything for her. Just like Beyonce's fans, Nicki's fans worshipped her every move as if she were a god. Nicki officially named her stan-like fan base the Barbs. What many people don't know is that she named her fans the Barbs for a reason, and it's because she is pushing the Barbie agenda. Nicki and just about all female rappers are used to push women into a Barbie mold. The Barbie mold is an agenda that is pushed on young females since children, and we can see it being pushed across all media. Everything targeted at young girls is to mold them into this Barbie mold, where they force the belief into their heads that their worth is determined by their beauty.
Now, To an extent, that is correct. Um, the Barbie, the Barbie agenda or the Barbie mode that they try to influence their fans to doing. Or what he did not mention is Nicki also has a very large. Now he may mention it later. A very large LBGTQ fan base as well. So there's not just men barbs. I mean, there's not just women barbs. There's also men barbs. And she didn't call them kins. She calls them barbs as well. All right. So that's one thing he didn't mention. Maybe he will mention later. But that's a fact. But he also meant, she has a very high LBGTQ, fan base as well. So let's get back to it.
Manipulating women into focusing most of their time to meet the Barbie beauty standard. The Barbie.
Hey everyone, I'm Shane Murphy, and today we'll talk about how to register.
That, of course, is an ad.
First, you're going to have to decide whether you're registered.
Also represents the plastic surgery element of it all. In the last 10 years, women have become more and more plastic, just like the plastic Barbie they're trying to become. This is the agenda Nicki has been pushing, selling her millions of fans through her music.
Very interesting point. Barbie dolls are plastic. The Barbie agenda, you have to look like a Barbie doll. Barbie dolls are plastic. Nicki Minaj has enhancements on her body. A lot of the other artists that push that same look agenda, if you notice, all of them have had surgery. So I never thought of it that way. Interesting point. Let's get back to it.
That their worth is determined by their beauty. What most Nicki Minaj stans don't know is that they're being played. Nicki Minaj is simply a puppet created by a record label to sell records and control them. Nicki, just like the rest of the biggest celebrities, took the oath in order to have the world and has been showing signs of this since the beginning of her career. Time after time, we see Nicki Minaj doing the Masonic one-eye symbolism, covering one of her eyes to show her alliance. She can also be seen doing the Masonic horn hand gesture. In Nicki's song for Keys Under the Palm Tree, she openly raps about her being called by the devil and it giving her chills.
Listen
in
to
the
this.
opening lines, she raps, "Hear the devil calling. I can hear him. It's like I get chills down my spine when I'm near him. Man, I'm a tad too bad. I don't fear him. I don't need the preachers. I'm the high priestess." Openly, Nicki Minaj tells her fans that she gets chills when the devil calls on her. She even confesses she's even more evil than the devil himself.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I consider myself a pretty big fan of Nicki Minaj's music. I'm going to be totally 100% honest with you. I have never heard that song until today. Right before I did that video, I was, I took the lyrics from there because somebody sent me the lyrics, and I was like, "What lyrics is this?" And I looked it up, and then I went and listened to the song. I'm going to be totally honest. 2023, I had never heard that song, and if I did, I didn't really I really didn't realize those lyrics were saying that. But remember, I told you that everybody has an initiation song, right? I thought Nicki's was "Moment for Life," but maybe it was this song. Let's get back.
Openly admitting that she's a high satanic priestess. This is Nicki openly confessing she sold her soul to the devil. She happily took the oath and chose to guide millions of impressionable young women to a burning end. We see even more proof of Nicki selling her soul in her music video for Hard White. Nicki's music video for Hard White is one of the most satanic music videos I have seen, as it depicts Nicki as some sort of queen of hell. In the video, we see Nicki Minaj in what appears to be hell, surrounded by demonic-looking men. She can then be seen in a throne with a pyramid behind her, clearly depicting the Masonic all-seeing eye. In multiple different scenes in the music video, they show Nicki doing occultic rituals with demonic-looking men. The music video is purposely dark and demonic and shows exactly where Nicki is leading her fans to. The next female artist we need to talk about is Cardi B, who I believe was created to replace Nicki Minaj and to push the continuation of the Barbie.
Now you hear that? He said he believes that Cardi B was created to replace Nicki Minaj. If you guys remember, I was talking about deactivation and replacements. I've been talking about that for years. I'm just glad to see that I'm not crazy and there's somebody else. This guy clearly has worked in the industry before. I don't know exactly who he is. Um, I don't know exactly who he is. I don't know exactly where he worked for, but this guy clearly has worked in the music industry prior, um, and knows about deactivation and replacements. Interesting. He said that Hard White was one of the most demonic videos he's ever seen, and I do remember that video. But now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again. Now he's into Cardi B, who he says he felt as though was replacing Nicki Minaj. Let's go.
Agenda. In 2017, Cardi B was one of the hottest female rappers out after she released her debut song, Bodak Yellow. She premiered the song on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and it quickly blew up, and the rest was history. Bodak Yellow hit the #1 spot on the Billboard charts, a big achievement for a female artist, as it was something that hadn't been achieved since Lauryn Hill. Cardi would instantly become a superstar and go on to become a platinum-selling artist. Just like Nicki, Cardi shows signs of being a Masonic puppet with the one-eye symbolism. Cardi can also be seen pictured doing the shush pose, which represents taking the oath of secrecy. We have seen so many female celebrities doing this pose, pointing to their oath. On her album cover for Privacy, Cardi can be seen wearing a checkered jacket that clearly points to the Masonic checkerboard floor.
Facts.
This is very important, as this was the first album after being signed and becoming a mega star. Since the start of her career, she was showing
First album after being signed, becoming a mega star, and they make sure that they push that agenda. The checkerboard is the symbol for the Masons. It's called the Masonic board, the Masonic checkerboard. So black and white, that is the symbol for the Masons. If you notice, Cardi B, like a lot of the entertainers, has that floor, has something like that in her home. Most of the entertainers have that somewhere in their house, and it's not just a coincidence. All right, let's get back to it.
Knowing that she is being used to push the Masonic agenda. We see exactly what agenda Cardi B is pushing through her music in her music video for her song WAP. The song WAP alone is a clear example of what values these artists are pushing. The entire song is about a woman's private part and having relations with men. Cardi B knows how destructive her music is, and it's the reason she freaked out when her daughter walked in the room while she was listening to her own song.
Facts, I
She
saw that.
knows the music is created to destroy. In the music video, Cardi B is alongside Meg Thee Stallion, another Masonic puppet who pushes the same agenda as Cardi. The music video starts with Meg and Cardi walking through a mansion looking inside the rooms while sin is happening in each one. They then walk up to a room with a golden serpent on it. The serpent comes to life, and then the scene shows both Cardi and Meg on the floor,
They both had
surrounded by
serpents.
serpents.
Yep.
We already know the serpent represents Satan, and we can see Cardi and Meg both surrounded by them while they're being seductive. Clearly, this scene represents the sin lust being offered to the world by the serpent himself. Just like Nicki was used to push the Barbie agenda, Cardi was used for the next step in that very agenda. She was the dancer who made it, became a superstar, and represented the club dancer mentality. Cardi B was also used to promote OnlyFans, influencing millions of young impressionable minds to get on the platform and sell their beauty. In 2020, when the platform was taken off, we saw so many big female celebrities endorsing the platform, telling their fans to get on it. This is exactly what they wanted, a generation of young women that are lost and willing to sell their beauty for material objects. Just like they program men to drill and catch bodies, they program the young women to sleep around and sell their beauty. They're destroying our people through the music, and sadly,
Wow.
people don't seem to realize it. This is what Cardi represents. This is the reason she is given the opportunity to make millions of dollars.
So what he's saying about Cardi B is that she was brought along to replace Nicki Minaj, and then they're using the stripper, the reformed stripper come up. Remember, she's the only one, she's the most famous person to ever come off of Love and Hip Hop. She's really the only no-name person to ever make it on Love and Hip Hop. Everyone else and 50 Cent made reference to this. Everyone else that's ever been on Love and Hip Hop really goes there to die. All right, their career goes there and it dies. Cardi B's career went there and it exploded from there, and she is the biggest name to ever come off of Love and Hip Hop. And what he basically saying is this was programmed that way. It was programmed. They put her in a position for her to succeed, and the only thing she had to do was make the music and then keep, the population going. Now we'll see on the second album whether she'll be able to continue it. But they're basically saying that they wanted her to take the baton from Nicki Minaj and keep it moving. Let's get back to it.
She plays a large role in pushing the agenda. The next female artist we need to talk about is no other than Lil Kim, who paved the way for rappers like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. See, Lil Kim is where the agenda really started, all the way back in the 90s. In the 90s, Lil Kim was Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. She influenced her millions of fans to sell their beauty and to do whatever is needed to get what they want. Just like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, Lil Kim shows that she is just another Masonic puppet. There's a photo of Lil Kim doing the one-eye symbolism, showing that she took the oath. In her song Mafia Land, she admits she was initiated when she raps. Loyalty's priority in this, fam. Where life's initiated, ain't no giving it back. Once you win it, like Bennett, you'll soon be lieutenant, like me, the Don Juan. She then goes on to rap in the second verse. How could a deal for a couple mil resort to such violence and throw our whole things off balance? But still, they pat me down from all angles, trapped inside the devil's triangle. Openly, Lil Kim admits she took an oath and she was initiated, and that she's trapped in the devil's triangle after taking that deal. In my opinion, Lil Kim.
So, what that line pretty much means is, that she regrets or sometimes thinks about it, especially now after Big left. She now regrets taking that deal for a couple of million. And now she's trapped inside the devil's triangle, meaning it's blood in and blood out most of the time. When you take these deals, you're pretty much in it for life. Unless something, extravagant happens where you can buy your way out of that deal. Doesn't happen a lot. That's crazy. Lil Kim was Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Somebody had to say it.
Sold their soul in order to have the world and was used to push a destructive agenda. Lil Kim had to exist for rappers like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B to be successful. The new female artists of today that are climbing the top of the industry show the same signs. The artist SZA sings about the same destructive agenda and shows obvious signs of being a Masonic puppet with the one-eye symbolism. In one of her music videos, she can even be seen inside of a green-lit circle doing what appears to be an occultic ritual. The city girls, just like Nicki and Cardi, are both Masonic puppets pushing the Masonic agenda. Both the city girls can be seen doing the one-eye symbolism, and one of them is even associated with one of the gatekeepers, Diddy. Just about all the female artists that are blowing up nowadays are pushing the same exact agenda. We must not allow these women to manipulate the minds of the women of today's world. Day after day, we are seeing this agenda slowly removing the morals God have given us, making the masses more inclined to sin. These are the women that are built to be worshipped, women that push nothing but destruction. This is how they blinded the women of this generation, tricking them into thinking what's bad is good and what's good is bad. Well, like I always say, we must remember that every day we wake up, our souls are at stake. And we also must remember to help those who can't see the truth find the truth. That's
wow. So pretty much ends the video, but basically saying that most of the women that they're pushing all pretty much look the same and they're all pretty much talking about the same thing. What have we heard mostly? What have we heard more so much of the last 2 or 3 years in female rap? Oh, everybody's talking about their pee, everybody's talking about effing, everybody's talking about taking some man's money and their body or how good their pee is. So he is 100% correct when it comes to that. I have a couple of, discretions on some of the things he was saying. I do agree what he said about the um, Lil Kim had to pretty much be successful in order for Nicki Minaj and Cardi B to be successful. Um, I don't really necessarily think that all three of them mimic each other. The way he made it sound like, oh, Lil Kim is the same, pushing the Barbie agenda, and then Nicki Minaj, and then Cardi B's pushing the Barbie agenda. Cardi B's and Lil Kim, they weren't really pushing the Barbie agenda, but I guess you can say because they both got surgery and enhancements, that that is imitating a Barbie doll. Very interesting video. Um, it's not nothing that I have not brought up to you before, but he did bring up a couple of points that I was like, I never thought of it that way. He is absolutely true about the Masonic, um, the Masonic floor. If you look at a lot of these artists and entertainers, when they show inside their house, they have that somewhere. It's either in their cabinets, like Chris Jenner. She has it like in her cabinets and also on the floor somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You would always see them have it. LeBron James has it. He has a little house for his daughter, and you open up her house, and on her floors, she's got Masonic checkerboards. So, and then everyone taking a picture, covering the one eye or covering the mouth, doing the sworn to secrecy. People have to wonder why they see that all the time. All right. So, did Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj, and Cardi B sell out an entire generation? Because what he's basically saying, if you go from Lil Kim in the 90s to 2023, that is a generation. That's more than a generation. And they are all very influential. Nicki Minaj being the most influential, you would put her level of influence is almost on the same level as Beyonce's. It would definitely be the highest female rapper. Cardi B, you know, her influence, they want to put her influence in the Latina community and the strippers. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have that stripper mentality. Cardi B made it. She was a stripper. There's nothing wrong with being a stripper. You know what I mean? I don't judge and jury anybody. If you have to strip to do certain things in life, then by all means, do what you need to do. But she represents that stripper, reformed stripper made it. You know what I mean? And even as in your music, I mean, she does a lot of. She goes on the stripper pole. She'll twerk. I mean, a lot of her dance moves she used when she was a stripper. So it's this industry that you're in. Now, who knows? These women at one day may say, you know what, F this. I'm out of it. You can take the money back. I don't give a damn. I want to repent and save my soul. And that's it. Who knows? That's between them and God. I'm not here to judge and judge nobody or jury nobody. I'm just reacting to the video. Hope you guys liked it. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you think he had a point here? What about what he said do you think is incorrect and what you think is correct? And do you think I missed anything, on this video? All three of them had their part in pushing a certain agenda. And those were the main three. That's probably why I'm calling it that, because those are the main three names. Beyonce's not a rapper, so that's the only reason why she wasn't included. But we already know that Beyonce, she had heavy influence and she uses heavy symbolism as well. So let me know down in the comments what you think. It's your boy Heaven Hollywood for the IE Network.